ready when you are.
You picked that up, so I was like, I might as well wait till he finishes taking his fucking loud ass sip that I hit start, and you literally picked it up, and I went, great intro.
I thought it would be cool. Made me feel like a radio broadcastman. Welcome to Goodnight channel. I'm sick. Jake's also sick. We're both sick. I'm PJ.
I'm Jake.
And we're sick.
And we're sick brothers.
So we are now on game 2 of 52.
2 of 52.
We're 252ths into our thing, into our shtick. And we played Undertale.
Yes, Undertale.
I played it first a little while ago,
and I played it second,
and then
much sooner ago.
So that's you want to tell us a little bit about Undertale?
I got 2 things written down. 1, the creator, Toby Fox, and 2, it was released in September of 2015.
This is our first game that's released this year.
Yes.
So our first new game that we're about to play, or that we did play, rather. Let's see, we beat the game. I believe we both got true pacifist ending.
Yes, I did as well.
Neither one of us got the other ending, which I'll talk about later.
Sure.
Because we're both tiny boys,
yes.
Incapable of beating this fucking game.
It's very hard, based solely on
a 4-hour-long video of someone dying over and over again.
Yeah. So, can I just say that I was not looking forward to playing this game?
Yeah. I had to convince Jake to play this game.
For months now, technically.
Yeah.
I've been bombarded via the internet with fan art of this game, and it fills me with regret that I had doubted the game because all the fan art is so horrible and doesn't really convey what this game is, which I find very strange.
Yeah.
The amount of fan art that just has nothing to do with what this game is about entirely. It's just, which I get, based on other fans, but why this game, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really know what it is about this in particular. It does remind me of another thing that Toby Fox is also part of that shall not be mentioned here because I don't know anything about it really.
Yeah.
But
he's into things that are beyond me.
Yeah. So what is this game?
I'm trying to think of a genre.
Well, what RPG? I would say definitely an RPG, an Earthbound inspired RPG.
See, I don't think it feels Earthbound-y even in its systems or story. It's very much its own little thing. Because Earthbound is one of my favorite games. I'm probably going to talk about it a lot on here, just because it is absolutely.
I've never played Earthbound.
I know you haven't. I
just wanted that to be on the record.
Yeah, it's my favorite SNES game of all time, without a doubt. My grandma had to pull me off of the system when I visited her because of how much Earthbound I was playing. So this game doesn't really feel like Earthbound. Like, I can see the inspiration.
And that's what I mean. I think that's...
But it's not like the game is like Lisa, which is much more close in even the way you play it, which is another game we'll probably talk about on here.
Yes.
Because one day I'll beat it.
Correct. I think the difference here is one is Earthbound inspired.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both...
And one is almost a tribute.
Yeah, Lisa and Undertale get mentioned together a lot, I think, because they were both kickstarted around the same time. They're both Earthbound inspired, quote unquote, RPGs. They both, I don't know, they're very similar in that kind of stuff. Lisa feels very much like Earthbound, but everyone's dead and is raped.
Yeah.
Whereas Undertale feels like a person who played Earthbound and really liked it.
Yeah.
And then made their own game that had some similarities with it and some tributes. And it doesn't really go beyond that.
Like, I feel like playing Lisa I could see Earthbound in there.
Yeah.
Whereas playing this, I was like, not really. There's some. It's different.
It's got the first person RPG thing, which I mean,
sort of.
Well, I mean, it's definitely like you go into a battle if you don't know how the game plays.
But that goes beyond Earthbound.
No, well, yeah, because it goes into SMT, it goes into much better games.
Yeah. I mean, even Western RPGs. Started in first person.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like it feels like the cutesy character. Like
I get it.
It's definitely inspired by it. I mean, Toby Fox made Earthbound hacks before he did this.
Yes.
He's clearly someone who really likes Earthbound. And we've done this, have not talked about what this game is about. This game, I think, inspires a lot of talking.
Yeah.
And you kind of get lost in it a little bit. Do you want to do a little tiny, like...
Yeah, I could give you my summary from the other day.
Yes.
Okay. So really, I'm just going to read my summary because I didn't know how else to describe the story of this game. So there's a world where humans and monsters live together, but then one day, monsters live underground. And then they can't leave the underground. There's a barrier. Don't know what's up with that. I guess I should have read the opening intro at least one time.
Yeah, I've skipped past it.
Yeah, every time. Then a human child falls into the underground. I don't know how that happened since it's sealed by a barrier.
No, they say it in the game.
Yeah, I don't remember.
You fall through a hole in the mountain.
Sure. I mean, I saw that, but I didn't understand why there's a hole. Why don't they just build a ladder and get out? Okay.
I flicked them off.
Yeah, no one's going to understand. Then a goat mom shows up, and she takes care of you. And then you have to fight your goat mom, and that's the end of the game, because she's really hard.
Yeah. We played, I think it was called Demo?
The Demo.
Yeah,
Demo
Undertale
version.
Demo.
Yeah.
I thought it was really short. I don't know why people love this game so much.
Because, I mean, I beat it within an hour. Yeah.
That's it. That's Undertale. That's our Undertale review.
The end.
So, what's the gameplay is a kind of a mix between, just as a little to go in with that. You walk around as aforementioned child who fell into a mountain or whatever. I don't really know. You fell into the underground.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
Via a mountain. And
so you walk around, and that's your player character. And you do normal RPG stuff. You get into random battles. There's an encounter rate, all that kind of stuff. What you'd expect from, like Earthbound, where you're walking around on an overworld. Well, you don't see things in Earthbound.
Yes, you do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I assume that was different from me playing Mother 3.
No, they were there. And it was cool because eventually you would get, I don't know why I'm talking about Earthbound, so never mind. Eventually you would hurt them, or you'd be strong enough that they'd just run away. Oh, it was really cool. And then you could hit them and instant kill them. Nothing like Earthbound. So fuck that. Let me start over. Yeah, Earthbound's not like that. Okay. And that's kind of what I was trying to get with what I have here, because it's a different game, and that's what I really like about it. It's not people are saying, oh, it's an Earthbound clone. No, it's so far from being an Earthbound clone. Yeah, it's definitely not its own game, and I'm really impressed by that. I was worried that I was going to go in and get Earthbound 3. Yeah. You know. Earthbound 3. Mother 2. Yeah, exactly. Liverpool 1. But I'm glad that it's its own thing. Because I probably would not have completed this if it had been just a straight-up clone. But, yeah, I mean, you do normal... And I feel like that's a big part of the game. You do normal RPG stuff, for the most part. It's not really, because you don't level, you get some equipment. I mean, you don't level traditionally. But you do. You fight things. That's how you level up. You level up, your stats level up, you get equipment, you get items, you use those items during battle. The only thing that's really different is how the battle system works. Yeah. I mean, how the battle system works is when an enemy attacks you, you have a chance pretty much always to be able to dodge that attack in some way. And there's a bunch of different mechanics. It's really great how they do it, but point is you go into a tiny, like, bullet hell-esque thing. That's not the fight option. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I just meant the combat. The fight option, you do a dumb little rhythm minigame. Yeah, which is stupid and horrible.
But when an enemy attacks you, that's what you do to avoid damage.
Yeah.
You can technically go through the game without ever getting new armor and beat it because you don't have to take damage.
Yeah.
You can always dodge it. It's just fucking impossible.
Oh, yeah.
So you will die if you do that. But so yeah, that's kind of where that's its special little thing is. Besides just the combat, you can also not kill enemies.
Yeah,
I would say that those are the two. If you were to make a box for Undertale, and you had it on the other side, a marketer would probably go, different combat system. Also, you don't have to kill things. It'd be two little.
Is that what it would say exactly?
Yes, quote unquote.
Game reviewer,
IGN.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, right there. IGN 8.8. It's okay.
I didn't kill anything. Fucking sucks.
I didn't kill anything. It's fucking horrible.
Where's COD Ops?
Undertale Ops.
That's next.
So, and this is before we get into talking about the game proper.
Yeah.
I want to spoil us a little tiny bit and say, and I already know kind of the answer to this question, but it really excites me every time. What did you think about this game, Jake?
What did I think? It's horrible. No, this is. I'm gonna make a scale one of these days for our show. It's not this episode, but I'm gonna tell you, yeah. It's gonna be a scale 1 to 10. Number 1 will be BioShock Infinite, and number 10 will be Earthbound. And I'm gonna put this at number 6, Chrono Trigger. No, I'm just kidding. That doesn't make any sense because Chrono Trigger is way better than Earthbound. Yeah, I'll go there. I'll say it. Chrono Trigger's better.
One day I'll play Chrono Trigger and then we can talk about it.
Yeah, and maybe one day you'll also play Earthbound. Well, this is just going to be RPG cast at some point. Yeah. PJ, I really like this game.
Good.
Surprisingly, I got a little emotional with it. It's that good. We'll get to that maybe.
He cried.
Shh, don't tell people. I'll cut it out in post. It doesn't matter. No one will know that I cried. I mean, that's how good it is, but we'll get there. We'll talk about that towards our final thoughts. Yeah. In the early game, I mean, what would be essentially the demo, which I didn't really know because I didn't play the demo.
Right.
I just went straight in.
Neither did I.
I went into it. I was eating these carrot people by accident. Didn't know. That's fine. But I got to the first quote unquote boss battle where you fight your own goat mom.
Goat mom.
And I beat the shit out of her. I didn't know what else to do. I just beat her up. And I felt really bad about it because afterwards she made me feel really bad about myself.
Yeah.
And then immediately there was a flower who was like, wow, you killed the shit out of her. And I was like,
good job.
Whoa, I don't want to help him. I don't like him. I guess we should have mentioned him, but we didn't. So, oh well.
Yeah. There's a flower.
Yeah.
He talks to you.
And he tells you, I have love pellets that I'm going to shoot at you.
Yeah. And a very, very good tutorial that teaches you nothing.
Yeah, because you immediately hit it and you get hurt and he laughs at you. And I go, oh.
Well, I guess that does teach you to avoid them. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's actually a good tutorial.
It is an actual, I don't know what you were talking about. It's really good. But this is where the game gets very interesting, almost immediately for me because I had no idea that this was a mechanic. I felt really bad about that, so I restarted the game. And I felt like I was like an hour in by that point because I had fucked around a lot and didn't really play properly. So I went back and I started over. And the very first thing that happens in this game is you fight a flower, and he says, collect these love pellets because they'll empower you. But because I already knew that those hurt me, I dodged them. And he's like, what are you doing? And then so I dodged them again. And he's like, why do you keep dodging my love bullets?
I really like that in the next frame it's changed. Like, it's beautiful.
And so he gets really mad, and eventually Goat Mom saves you from him, and it's kind of cool. But I went and I fought her again. So I went through the whole tutorial again, which is a pain in the butt. And I got to her, and there was this text that said, you feel like you've murdered her previously.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
Well, I think it says, you think about telling her that you've seen her die, but that's creepy.
Yeah, which is
both creepy and really endearing. Like it's got that weird little humor throughout the whole game. Even during its like darker moments, it's still got this weird humor about it that I really appreciate.
I really enjoyed it. It got me. I was like, oh, okay. Now I'm invested because I was not really invested because it's kind of boring up until that. But that single moment was like, what? And so immediately afterwards, you go against the flower again.
He just talks to you.
Who, you come face to face with him, and he says, I see that you restarted, that you felt bad about murdering Goat Mom. And I was like, whoa, what? Like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, the game knows I restarted. Like, it was a very surreal feeling to know that the game was conscious of what I was doing. And so it really made me conscious of what I was doing after that, because before I didn't realize I was being violent, like eating the carrots and doing stuff. Yeah. So that really made me very conscious as to what my actions were, because they mean something.
Yeah, it makes it feel like someone is watching. The game's watching you. It's a little reminder that, hey, we're tracking what you're doing.
Like, yeah, it's like feeling when you're a kid and you have to worry about Santa.
Yeah. Being
pissed at you because you masturbate.
Yeah.
Daily.
Every moment.
Into his stockings that you know he stuffs.
Oh my God.
Sorry, Mom and Dad.
You're welcome, Santa.
Yeah. Santa loves it. I know it.
Christmas came early for Santa.
Oh my God. It's funny because it's true. So, yeah. Once you beat that's the tutorial, basically, from what I understand, or the demo. Yes. And the game opens up a little. It kind of lets you see that the game actually has graphics in there.
Yeah, somewhere. That's not just all this hideous purple color.
Yeah, so and by that point, I was invested. So I think I started the game on a Friday, and I was done by Sunday. And I played a majority of the game over Saturday and Sunday, because Friday was just the tutorial, because I replayed the tutorial the next day. So 2 days I beat the game, and I was really impressed with myself, because I was like, oh, I don't beat games very often, hence the show existing, because it's an attempt to finish these fucking games that are piling up. So no, I was at that point very invested, and I almost wish I could have gone back and replayed the game bad to start. At that point, I was like, oh, I really want to start it and just be a shithead to see how far the stuff goes, because I'm very interested to know how many dialogues are switched because of my actions. And so, thankfully, I didn't do that, from what I understand.
I went in pretty much blind. I went in knowing that people liked it before it got really... I knew... Right, the first week or so, like the first 3 days that it came out, I knew that a couple people were saying they really, really liked it, and I've always had my eye on it. And so I got it, and I played it, and I went, this is fantastic. This is fucking fantastic. You know, I saw that first couple of, like, oh yeah, here's some stuff thrown, like, here's the first trickle of fan art and stuff like that, and I really appreciated it at first.
Yeah.
This game is really... really good. The pacing is very good. There's one section that drags maybe a little tiny bit besides the opening. But honestly, when you think back about the game, unless you're really trying to remember that stuff, you don't. You see it as kind of a whole. It's very special. I gotta say, right now, you know, I'm gonna save what I was gonna say. So, It's special, and I think that's what's really important to me. You'll find as we play more games that I really like any game that feels unique, regardless of how completely shit it is. I love games like that. And this game, first of all, if you're playing it just gameplay wise, not shit, really fun, really really fun. It's also special. So right now, I really love it. It had moments that got me really pumped. It had multiple moments that had me, as the kids say, lolling, laughing out loud, I think is what they say. Yeah, I know.
No one's going to be able to see my face and how astonished I am.
That I know the lingo, yeah.
Yeah, that you know so many dang memes.
Good. It's really funny. Like it has moments that seem like they're not supposed to. Like I can't believe that they're as funny as they are. When you go on that fucking date with a Skelly man, I couldn't believe my fucking eyes. Like I loved it. I loved every second of it. And more than that, gameplay wise, you go through all the bosses, right? And right away in the beginning, they give you a big fucking. They give you a big middle finger. They say, "Don't move during blue things," and they keep dropping you these hints. They introduce character. Don't move during these blue things. Hey, I heard that your next boss, blue attacks. Like, his special attack, something about blue, and you're like, all right, all I gotta do is not move. You get to that part, you don't move, and he turns you blue, which introduces a whole new mechanic. It's great. Like, now you're jumping around kind of like a platformer, sort of, and bullet hell all at the same time. Like, you have gravity now. Like, and then your next boss, you don't move, and it's kind of like DDR. And then the one after that, you shmup. Like, you turn into a ship, and you actually shoot stuff. Sometimes you're constricted on strings. Like, they constantly introduce new things, and it never feels stale. I never had a moment where I went, no, I'm bored of fighting like this, or I'm bored of these characters, anything like that. And what's really great is you have all this stuff. It knows how to pace itself really well, I think. You know, you have in the beginning, you're very simple. You only have a couple things you can do. You move around like how you're going to move around the rest of the game, with the exception of boss fights. And then you get to the final boss with big air quotes. Asgore. Kilgore? Asgore.
Asgore.
Asgore. Gorass.
Goat Dad.
Goat Dad. So you get to Goat Dad, which is a fucking amazing fight. Like, it opens up. The music is cued perfectly. You get filled with determination.
Yes.
And you do. Like, your character text says you're filled with determination. And it's a very weird feeling in a video game where the game tells you feel something and you go, you're right, I do feel this.
Yeah.
And then he destroys that mercy thing and you just go, fuck, I'm in for something really awesome right now. And you fight him like you fight Goat Mom.
Yeah.
And it's like poetry, it rhymes. So it feels amazing. I think the one thing I don't really like so much is that you get that ending. A spoiler again. You fight Goat Dad. You eventually beat him down a little bit, and eventually you can talk to him and make him feel better. And he's like, "All right, let's talk this out." And then the flower comes and kills the shit out of him, and takes his soul. And then you fight Photoshop Monster.
Well, but no, it's a little bit different. At least for me, it felt different. You fought him, and you literally beat him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Within an inch of his life. He has 1 point left, probably.
Right.
And I thought, oh, I get to choose the killing blow. Like, we're going to have this little dialogue, and then I kill him. Because I don't know what else to do. Because in the game, it revolves around mercying everyone. And not doing anything. And just being a pacifist, which is really interesting. But yeah, that fucking flower came out, and I went, oh, now I really hate him.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they make you hate him, which
is good, and because then later they make you not hate him, understand him, and go,
he's
feel bad.
He's a person. Well,
yeah. Well, that's the point, is that he's not, and that's the scary part, is he's not a person anymore.
That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah,
it's got some really good stuff in there.
It's funny, like, you have all these joke characters that feel interesting and fleshed out. You know, you have these two skeletons who right away you go, skeletons, like, thank you, Mr. Skeletal. Like, you think all these things, like, pop culture stuff, and they're goofy and funny, but the more you play, the better it gets. And especially if you play Genocide Route, you have a really, really emotional moment where, you know, when you're first introduced to Papyrus, who is one of the skeleton brothers, he seems goofy. He wants to kidnap you, and he feels like he has a change of heart along the way.
And then he wants to date you.
And he wants to date you, but he doesn't really like you.
Yeah, which I think is adorable.
Yes. But when you play Genocide Route, you realize, oh, you know, he's very, like, you learn something about the character. You learn that he's he believes in you no matter what. He believes that people can be good. He doesn't want to fight people, which is why you never lose to Papyrus. You never die.
Yeah.
You never get a game over screen when you fight him. He captures you, puts you in a thing that he built all wrong, so you just walk right the fuck back out, which is beautiful also. Like,
well, he plays an interesting thing because he's like the rival character, you know, like
weirdly, kind of, yeah.
Like he's the epitome of what would be your opposite in this universe. Like you are the hero, so he's the anti-hero. Like he's trying, you want to help, and he wants to help, but from the opposite side.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
he just has a different idea of what...
I'm sad that the only comparison I can make is Char Aznable from Gundam. I know, because I'm not supposed to be the weeaboo here, but I am.
I'm not a weeaboo. I haven't talked about anything yet.
Oh, yeah. Whatever, Mr. Yuri.
Wait, what? What do I do that's... What do I have that's that?
You'll see. All Yuri cast.
Oh, Yuri cast.
What's the title of that? Multi-purpose toilet.
Multi-purpose Sakura trick.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, Papyrus.
Because he writes in Papyrus.
Yeah, Papyrus. He's the anti-hero, supposedly. He doesn't realize that he's not, which is interesting. Like he's supposed to be bad, and he knows that because that's how it is.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And it's great because it's like in a war. People are fighting on both sides. They don't know why, and he doesn't know why. And so, for him, he thinks, "Oh, well, maybe I love them. Maybe that's why I'm not supposed to be upset that I didn't win or whatever." Like, so he goes on a date with you, which I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, I guess I didn't really think about that. Like, he must go, "Oh, why don't I hate?" Like, his entire life, he's been told hate humans. And bring them to Asgore, who also doesn't hate humans. He's really sad that he has to do what he has to do.
Yes,
and everyone is except for Undyne, who comes around in the end. Like,
well, Undyne was brought up
exactly
differently. Like each person's been brought up in a way
that feels believable.
Yes,
even though they're dumb fish girls or skeletons or goat dads, they feel more human than every single AAA human that's been in every game so far this year.
Yes.
I just really like that concept that you bring up of he doesn't know what to do, so he's just like, I guess I love him.
Yeah.
There's no other explanation for this. Like being a decent person to a human doesn't make sense to him, so he's just like, oh, I love him.
That's what I got away from it. Was
like, it's perfect.
Yeah. He's like, this is a very foreign feeling.
Yeah.
Because he's never felt it.
Well, he doesn't know what humans look like. Right away at the beginning, you know that.
Yeah.
And in the genocide route, you really know that, because you don't even hide in the genocide route. Like, when, you know, the little lamp, you don't go behind the lamp. You just sit there, and Papyrus is like, oh, I don't know what the fuck that is.
I really wish we could have played it entirely, but it's fucking hard.
Yeah, it's really hard.
I probably should have watched the playthrough before talking here, but oh well.
Yeah.
I'll watch it after.
Yeah.
We'll make a second video, Undertale Part 2.
Undertale 2.
In a year from now, where we play Genocide.
Yeah.
Route.
Where
where PJ plays it, and I don't. I just go, I can't believe you did that, you fucking loser.
where PJ dies to Undyne again. For the millionth time. So, the game, the only thing I don't like, I kind of got sidetracked there for a second, I'm sorry, is that you do the flowery boss, which is a really cool boss. It's awesome.
The Photoshop bomb.
Yeah.
Sorry, the Photoshop boss.
Crashes your game. It really knows how to play with the meta of you're in a game. Without breaking it.
The crashing really impressed me because I opened up the exact same EXE and it made a small window. Well, for one thing, it does the intro again.
Yeah.
And the intro's different.
Yeah, slightly.
Just
slightly.
a little bit. And I was like, wait. And I noticed it. And of course, the game, like the screen, that part, it splits in half, and it glitches. And I was like, oh, okay. And the title bar, the actual like window title bar for Windows, all the text is going fucking nuts, like moving and changing. I was like,
yeah,
wow, that's really cool. Like,
it's super impressive. Like it doesn't half-ass its little crashing thing.
No, it felt real. I was like, oh, I'm invested. Like, is this game fucking up my computer right now? Because I'm getting pissed. And to know that this was all built in Game Maker, really surprises me. Because like when I think Game Maker, I go, oh, Gunpoint. That's it. Yeah, there's no other games for Game Maker. Gunpoint's amazing.
Yes, Gunpoint is amazing.
Which hopefully we'll beat it on here one day.
Yeah. No, we won't. No. But so you go through. You have that really, really great boss fight. Everything about it's great. All the meta stuff in this game is wonderful. The only thing I don't really like is you go back and it just kind of goes. You're really arbitrarily not allowed to get true pacifist end right away. This is my really only criticism of the game, is that you're, for some strange reason, just not allowed to. Like, you're not allowed to have the Undyne dinosaur girl date thing, or you're not supposed to get the one phone call.
Yeah.
There's a phone call. As you go around, you can meet your new friends. You gain a bunch of friends by basically mercying them and showing them that, things can be different kind of deal. Whatever. You gain a bunch of friends. You talk to them. They have storylines. All kinds of cool stuff. And randomly, you're just kind of cut out of a storyline, sort of. You don't really know it, but you just are.
Well, kind of, because
if you do all this stuff...
If you play the game in order, I feel like there's a point where you go, I don't feel like I completed everything, but I'm going to go fight this boss now.
Yeah, but that's the part that I don't like, is that you're literally just... The only thing that's different between the neutral end and the true pacifist end is that you are going to go backwards until you get a random phone call from Undyne. If you did everything, you get a random phone call, and then you can go back and get true pacifist end. And it's like, that seems very arbitrary, especially if you're already doing true pacifist.
But to be honest, that felt like a real throwback to Chrono Trigger. I know you haven't played it.
No.
But I'm sure you know enough about it. Or you don't. Either way, I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah. You're the...
So, in Chrono Trigger, you can beat the game without the main character. And I think I did the first time I played it because I didn't know.
I think that's different, though.
But you fight the boss.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can... You don't... Like in this, you have to run away.
Mm-hmm.
It says, no, you can't beat the boss, or something happens. I don't exactly remember. It's been so long. Like 3 months since I played it. No, you fight the final boss, the last boss, Lavos, and Chrono dies, the main character, and the worst villain of all time steps in and goes, "We have to leave." Like, this guy that you hated, steps in and says, "No, you can't beat him now. You're not strong enough." But your main guy is dead. Like, imagine Final Fantasy VII, Aerith. If she was Cloud and Cloud died, and now you just play as Aerith for the rest of the game. Like, the main character that you've been playing as this whole time is now gone. And that's what's kind of similar here, was you have to beat the game to then appreciate the rest of it. Like, to understand why you have to continue.
I just thought it was a little bit of a... this whole game, no cut corners, I don't feel like.
Yeah.
Like, everything is like, okay, everything feels correct. The only thing that I think is a little bit of a cut corner is that I really do feel like it's arbitrary. Because if you're on true pacifist, there's no difference between true pacifist and neutral if you're already doing true pacifist, other than you get a phone call.
Yeah. Which
you should have gotten anyway.
You should have gotten the phone call before you fought the last boss.
Exactly. So it doesn't really make any sense, because you beat the game on neutral.
But technically, let's say... So you play the game,
right?
And you don't know that, and you beat it neutral.
Mm-hmm.
So you go back to play it. If somehow you didn't know that there was a true pacifist, and you played it again,
right?
You wouldn't know. You're like, fuck, I gotta beat the boss. Like, I don't know how to unlock it. So you do it, and then you unlock it.
Yes. And it does tell you. I think it's a lot more effective if you didn't realize all that stuff, because then you go back.
Yes.
Like for instance, I hadn't done that whole Undyne quest. So, like, I didn't even go cooking with her or anything.
See, I went cooking with her.
See, I didn't do any of that stuff because I couldn't find her house.
Well, her house is right next to Ghost House.
I know. I don't know why I didn't notice it before, but I didn't.
Can I interject? Yeah. There is one fan art I do like. I'm sorry. It's the only one I've liked, and it didn't make any sense to me originally, but now it does. It's the part where Papaya. Papaya Scaly Man. He runs. You didn't see this part, but he runs and jumps out of Undyne's window.
I saw it. What do you mean?
During the cooking sequence.
I mean, I did the cooking sequence afterwards.
Okay, so you saw.
Yeah.
So you
have to.
Okay, so yeah, you go, and he runs and he jumps through that window. But someone they showed that like in a GIF, and then they immediately show the outside where he runs into a fucking wall. There's a wall right outside. You can see it, and he just slides down the wall.
There's lots of parts that are just like they're stupid fun, and they work for some reason.
No, it's great. Also, going back to that house and clicking on it.
It's good.
No one lives here except Fire.
Fire.
Now, or like something like now Fire lives here.
Yeah. There's lots of really like snappy little things,
and those are great.
The writing is really good.
Yeah, those feel like callbacks to Earthbound,
yes.
where like you can click on the building that goes, Earthbound team is working on Earthbound 2. You're like, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
I know you're not.
I know it's going to be a failed N64 project.
Oh yeah.
And like for me, it was like, and Flowey tells you, he's like, you should go back and do this thing. Like, I feel like there's someone that you didn't talk to where if you spare him, because if you kill him, he doesn't.
Yes.
But if you spare him, he tells you a little bit about what you can do to get true pacifist.
Yeah.
My only hang up on that is that if I had done that stuff, it would literally just be me waiting on nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems very odd to me. But I do really like that you go back, you get to go through True Lab, things get creepy. Like, you go back, you do Pacifist End, you get a lot more insight. Everything starts to change. You really start to see all the, hey, we're an RPG, we're a game, we know it, but we're not going to hit you over the head with it in the same kind of way. It feels like we're a game, we're an RPG in universe, as opposed to like, hey, nudge, nudge, look at us, we're a game. It feels very different than that somehow.
Yeah, it's a world that knows it's a game.
It
but doesn't know it's a game?
It. Yeah, it knows it's a world where you can reset time. That's for sure.
It's like Reboot.
Yes.
Where it's a game, but it doesn't know that there's a real world.
Right. It's
if you're playing Zelda, but Zelda knows the rules of the game.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
Like Link, you run out of 3 heart, you're just gonna come right back.
Yeah.
And it knows that.
Yes.
Which is very strange.
I really like, and there's what I really like about this game is you can go through it, beat it, and have your complete story, or you can really dig into it and get all these other little things. Like, why does Sans, the other skeleton brother, why can he teleport? Why does he have all these powers? Why does he know everything that's going on? It's in there. It's in the game's files. You can figure it out. You just have to figure it out. You just have to, like, you can edit the files of the game and get new characters. Like, it's nonsense, and it's really cool. I love that it extends so far.
It's really interesting that this game has all those things.
Yes.
And they're actually there.
Yes.
But we have a game that came out this year as well, where everyone's trying to make it into that.
Yes.
And that's Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 5 is like, there's a whole missing chapter. Like,
how do you do it? You have to edit the file.
and well, that's the thing. Like, someone dug, they data mined out the chapter 3 title card.
Yeah.
It just says peace. And everyone, because I have to look, I love conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
So the conspiracy theories around that game are stupid.
Yes.
And so I love reading them, and people coming up with the most off the wall concepts.
So the final boss, the final boss.
That's like 4.
It's beautiful.
There's a lot, yeah. So
the true pacifist end boss is really, really great in a way. You know, I don't cringe when I play this game ever.
No,
I didn't. Not a single time did I sit there and go, "Ooh, don't talk about anime." Like, it feels correct for some reason. Everything feels right.
It does. I hate stuff that does that.
Yes, me too. Me too.
So the fact that it talked about anime and I didn't go, huh. Especially in a game that shouldn't talk about anime.
Yeah.
It was really...
But it was really endearing that you had this dumb, like, weeaboo girl who was just giving the other girl... Yeah, big swords. Humans are great. They have big swords.
Yeah.
Like, I've watched all your stuff. All humans have huge swords, and they flip around, so that's why Undyne is, like, how she is, because she's a dumb anime person.
Well, no, Undyne, that's... We were talking about this earlier. Her only experience with humans is via anime.
Yeah.
And that they have big swords, so they're all evil. Like, imagine living in a world where you think everyone is berserk.
Yes.
You know, like that whole... The existence of berserk is all you know about humans. So... You would be evil, like you would be this weird person.
Well, and she's not like she's really not. She's just protecting stuff.
And she misunderstands how people operate.
And she's super determined, as you find out in the genocide round.
Yeah,
because she fucking melts and comes back as a fucking impossible boss.
Yeah, I
called
can't.
The Heroine.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
It's really cool. Oh no, she's Undyne the Undying, and then her little text when she comes up is The Heroine appears.
Cool.
It's cool as hell.
Yeah, I really want to watch that one.
So the final boss.
Let's talk about it.
Is the most anime bullshit ever.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved every single second of it. The only thing that rubs me very mildly the wrong way is that you really can't die during it, but I feel like it'd feel really shitty if you could. Like, I think it's worth it to not die during that part just for that little moment where your heart breaks and then it fuses back together and goes, but it refused.
Yeah.
Like, that part's so fucking cool that it's more important to have that part in than for me to feel incredibly challenged.
Yes.
I think.
Well, if you want to feel challenged, there's an entire playthrough of the game
seriously,
to feel challenged, and that's what I like. This game knows it's not a challenge.
Yeah.
And that's part of its charm is you're a good person. And being good rewards you even in that moment.
In different ways.
Yeah.
Because it is... The neutral route where you fight things is easier than the genocide. Or being a big asshole is really, really hard. Yes. Well, it's incredibly easy for huge stretches of time, and then you get your comeuppance really quick. Being a nice guy is pretty hard throughout. Not hard, but... You definitely feel like, especially if you go through and fight things first and you gain a level or two and you go, this is much easier now. I can take way more hits. Like, it's a game that really makes you feel that choice of being a good person much better in a really nice, hopeful way. Where it goes, being a good person's not always easy, but in the end, things will be better because you've made things better.
I just want to touch on this because I forgot to. The game has monsters that you talk to.
Yeah.
And then there's monsters you fight, which are different slightly. They're not.
No.
And that's what's really interesting. And because there's a part where you fight those ghosts. The ghost part?
What ghost part?
The abominations. They're not really ghosts.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry.
Which are awesome.
Yeah.
I love those fights.
I meant to talk about the pre-ending, so I might move this.
Yeah.
But so there's a part where you go around fighting abominations, and you get to read these little things about the monsters, these little journal entries that say like they were part of someone's family.
Yeah.
And it makes you go, oh, all these monsters I've been fighting, like if you didn't realize by that point, like, these are all nice people, and they're all trying to protect themselves or their friends, their family, and you're just this alien in their world.
Yeah.
And so it's that part of the game though that made me it hit me the most. Like, these people volunteered or whatever, or they died.
Yeah.
They died. That's what it was.
Yes.
They straight up died. And Dinosaur Doctor
Alphys.
Dinosaur Doctor
Dino Doctor D-Day.
Yeah. Decided to, or via Asgore, to bring them back. Like, Asgore's like, we have to do something.
Yeah.
And so this was their solution, was to inject them with determination.
Yes. Which is a weird concept, because it's like, I can't tell if the game was trying to tell me that it was a thing.
Yeah.
Or if it was a because it really presents it like a thing. But yeah, you go through True Lab. It's I think it's a legitimately like kind of spooky experience.
Oh, did you get into the bed?
Yeah. Well,
and then you wait?
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Yeah, you do, because you leave something later. You have to.
I don't remember, because there's another bed that had the thing in it the whole time. And I was like,
oh,
fuck.
that's what it is.
Because I kept thinking that's what it was,
Yeah.
and then I kept trying to get out to fight him,
Yeah.
and I couldn't do it, and I was getting pissed.
Yeah. It's
the recording for that is so long, because I just kept doing it until I finally got up and looked at another thing. I was like, oh, fuck, I'm stupid. Stupid.
Yeah, I love True Lab. There's not a whole lot of this game that I don't love. That whole section's really cool and creepy and still funny.
Yeah.
Like when you pet the dog and it's just like trying to figure out how to pet this fucking monster dog is so good. Like
I was very surprised that a part that I felt creeped out with, it's not like in Resident Evil where I go, I don't want to play because that's creeping me out. Here I was like, I'm still very enthralled.
Yep.
With this. Like I want to know more.
Yes.
And I never did. There's parts in like a game like Resident Evil where I go, this is too much. I have to turn it off.
Yeah. Or a game tries. The other part is when games like especially indie games like this try to be very creepy.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, like this doesn't feel. You know what I think is really cool about this game? It always feels like a kid's game.
Yeah.
Like it could be a kid's game.
Okay. I keep doing this. It's turned me around completely on my opinion at the beginning of this, where it is very Earthbound inspired. Because Earthbound is a kid's game.
Yeah,
and it deals with adult themes.
Exactly,
like fighting your own mother's uterus at the end of the game.
Right.
This game, I would have played Undertale as a kid.
Right.
And
I
feel
maybe
like,
not caught on to all the other stuff.
But I think I could have appreciated it, because I feel like I really appreciate the end of Earthbound. Even as a kid, it was like, there's a move you do that you don't use the whole game. And all of a sudden it's relevant, and you go,
yep.
Oh, that's really cool. And I felt like at the end of the game, like, I feel something here.
Yeah.
And it's special, especially as a kid to get that.
Earthbound's your favorite game, you would say, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Earthbound's your favorite game. Majora's Mask is my favorite game. They both share that same kind of, I played it as a kid. I can look at it now and see other stuff in it, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's a timeless kind of experience. It's not the best. It's not even the best Zelda game. But it's my favorite game of all time. Like,
yeah.
It's one of those things where it's just, it feels really good to have something that isn't trying so hard to be one way or the other way. Like, it feels like I could give it to a kid and a kid would enjoy it, and I wouldn't have to be worried about, like in Lisa where men get raped constantly. Like, it's a game that feels like it could be a kid. Like it is Earthbound inspired in the truest sense of the word, in that he played Earthbound and went, this really touched me in a very special way.
Yeah.
And I want to make something that will touch somebody in a very special way.
Yeah.
Wink, wink. Like, and I really feel that. I feel that love for something without blatantly copying that thing.
Yeah.
While still going, hey, I really like that. Like, Papyrus's little thing is the Starman's thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's cute. Little cute things, but they don't ever interact with the game itself. Like, it always feels like its own thing. It always feels like it's doing its own thing. And it's really special in that way. Like,
I mean, that might be the only real reference to Earthbound.
Yes.
And it's super subtle.
It's really subtle.
Like, you wouldn't know.
Yep. I didn't know, but I didn't play Earthbound.
And that's fair that you don't know the Starman symbol, but it's cool.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
You didn't put in, like, a whole room.
Yeah.
Dedicated to, like, a character named Timmy or anything.
Yeah. I just really like Temmie Village. That's another thing. Like, that's so stupid, and yet I found myself laughing. Like,
yeah.
I couldn't help it. Like, her stupid facial thing that doesn't work correctly. Like,
there is one thing I did like about that village. That Mushroom Man.
Yeah, that Mushroom Man. Yeah, he has a bunch of dialogue,
Yeah.
He has a shit ton for some reason.
I like that you think he has eyes, and then he pulls back his head, and then he has big eyes. And I was like, what the fuck? It was a very weird moment for me, but I liked it. I very much liked that guy. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, I like the game as a whole. I love the final boss, the final boss.
The final anime boss.
The anime boss, where the music goes. Oh, this is another quick little thing. Game really knows when to go. Hey, I know the limitations of what I'm. It's kind of saying, hey, we're kind of a Super Nintendo game. Like it's trying to work semi in those constraints. Like when you go into the battle view, everything's white usually. Like it's pretending like it has some restraints, but it really knows when to break out of those restraints. And like that final boss fight, when it starts in with with chiptunes, and then just throws it out the fucking window, and it's just full on like there's guitars, there's all kinds of stuff, and it sounds. You get so pumped during that fight for no real reason, and there's colors everywhere all of a sudden. Like
there's plenty of reasons.
I mean, yes, I'm sorry.
It's built,
yes,
to get you fucking determined.
Yeah, which is awesome. Like again, it makes you feel it. I don't know. It's so stupid, and I love it so much. Like, it's one of those things that it really makes you feel good and feel something on top of that. Like, not just, hey, feel good because you did a good thing. Like, and then you get to go back, and you can go all the way back. And when you fight that boss, you beat the boss, you get to talk to everyone again. You get to walk around all the areas with the monsters out. Yeah. They're not in random encounters anymore. Like, you see all the plane, like, the Sundar plane, which is fucking great every time I see it. Like, but they're just out, and I think if the notes didn't do it for you, walking through that again and going, I feel really good that I helped these people that are people. They're not humans, but they're people.
When you're doing the mercy route and you talk to them, they present real problems that they were having.
Those two cute knights who are like into each other. Yeah. Like, and you solve their little problem for them. And it makes you feel good.
Even more simply is one of the first guys is just like, don't bully me.
Yeah, you just don't bully them and you're good. It's great.
It's just
these, hey, watch my dance. Yeah. Watch his dance. All right, bye.
It's just these little moments that really, you're like, these are all real people. And you feel good that you get to spare them. Not that makes sense because it's not like I'm sparing them because I didn't really do anything to them.
Because you can. I like that a lot of this game has this story underneath it. Like, when you play Genocide Route, you get a whole different story. You are sparing them because you have the fucking... You become inhabited, which you realize in the pacifist route, you become inhabited with the first kid who fell down there's spirit. And he's a big asshole.
We probably should have talked about the ending if we were going to talk about that kind of stuff.
What do you mean? Which ending? Oh!
The real ending.
Like, what it's about.
Yeah.
Good point. So, the real ending of the game is you realize that your flower friend who's been coming around and talking to you.
Yeah, he hates you. But because he thinks you're someone else.
Right. You notice...
He thinks he's Jake.
There's only two moments in the game that ever... Or, excuse me, 3 things in the game that ever refer to you by the name you input.
Yeah.
When you look in the mirror in the first thing, and I don't remember if that's only in the Genocide route, but I think if you look in the mirror, you go, hey, that's me, that's PJ, or that's Jake, whatever. In the game over screen, where it's Asgore talking to the first kid, and Flowery, who always refers to you as whatever name you input. Yeah. And that's because you're naming the kid who fell first. Mm-hmm. And you find this out throughout the course of the game, that kid who fell down first was a big asshole. Horrible monster man.
The worst.
Who just wanted to kill shit. He is a standard RPG player, is what he is. He wants to kill things and see numbers raise, and that's all he wants.
He's Link. Because Link goes around killing things. Everything in a dungeon. Bosses.
Yes. Bosses, everything.
But these things existed before Link came there. They're not inherently evil.
Right.
Which is an interesting thing with the Zelda games. I know this is a little side tangent, but like the Dickus.
Yeah.
In
Majora's Mask.
No. The one before it. I'm sorry.
Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time. They're all bad.
All of them. Yep.
There's not a good one.
Nope.
But then immediately in Majora's Mask, you are one.
Yeah, which is really weird.
And they're mostly good.
And Zora's too, and Goron's. All of those things were enemies at one point.
And they're all good now. Yeah, because Zoras are evil in Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Except for the king who gives you flippers.
Or the queen in Link Between Worlds.
Exactly. Which is really cool.
Yeah.
And Majora's Mask is the outlier of letting you explore all of those things, and it's.
Well, Majora's Mask is a game that you're not supposed to play unless you've played the other Zelda games. I think.
Oh yeah, it's a clear like, hey, you like Zelda games?
Yeah.
Want to feel really sad inside? Here you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Undertale.
You're this character is a standard RPG character. So, you have this whole story. Basically, this kid fell down into the underground and met up with Goat Mom and Goat Dad, who are the king and queen of this place. They have a kid named Azriel, who has a big dumb name that I love, Azriel Dreamer, which is stupid, but I still like it for some reason.
Yeah.
Everything in this game is stupid, but you love it. You can't help it. Like you're a kid.
Yeah.
Which is great. Anyway, so they have this kid, and they become friends because they're they didn't have this whole concept of hating and killing humans before. They created this concept because Azriel tries to bring the kid out to the village.
I think we should correct that.
Why?
Because why he's going to that village?
The kid poisons himself.
Yes.
There you go.
Because you need to know why.
I know.
And
There's
okay, so real quick, there's a barrier. No one can leave the barrier.
Right.
Unless you have a monster soul and a human soul.
Right.
And so this kid sucks. He dies. Who cares?
He kills himself.
Yeah. And so his soul merges with his quote-unquote brother.
Brother, yeah.
And so
adopted brother.
In his dying breath, he says, I want to go home.
To the flower fields, yeah.
Yeah, to the village where he grew up.
Yeah.
And so his brother takes him there.
And gets shot to shit.
Gets fucking murdered,
basically. And Azriel at this point is super, incredibly powerful. He could have killed him at any moment. And he wants to.
Yeah, because he has that soul in him.
Yeah,
he can do it. And he runs away.
Yes, he does. He runs away and puts him on a bed of flowers.
And
where he puts the kid's body down and then he lies down with him or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And somehow he becomes a flower. Wait, that is explained, but I don't think I understood it, sadly.
His soul goes into a flower, and when Alphys is trying to do the determination experiments, she injects one of the flowers with it.
And she knows it's that one.
Yes,
she says so. The first one.
Right, exactly. And then, and so you have Flowey who has no soul. It's Azriel's soul, but has no concept of good or evil. Yeah. He just gets bored, basically, at some point. He's missing these essential parts that make us human.
Yeah.
And so he's a fucking monster.
Yeah.
And it's great, and he's scary, and he's sad, and he's all these things. And so you finally, in the whole point of the game is, Flowey keeps talking to you. He keeps seeing you as this person that you're not. You're a different person.
Yeah. The game really presents him as this uncaring person.
Right.
And you want to hate him. And I love that. Here's a villain that's a villain.
Yes.
He's fucking evil. For the sake of being fucking evil. And it's like, all right.
Well, that's literally his character motivation is he can save and reset. So he just goes, for the longest time, all he's been doing before you came down here, he just goes around, murders everything, resets.
Yeah.
That's all he's been doing. And he's having a blast.
It's because that's all he knows.
And then you had your moment where you realize Jake got to saw something that I didn't get to see, which explained a little bit. I already kind of figured it, but it's in the game, which is nice. Because he killed Toriel and then reset, Flowey goes, oh, you know what? You're the reason I can't save and reset anymore. So that's why he's not, going on this whole rampage while you're out.
Which is a Toriel, by the way, Goat Mom.
Goat Mom, sorry.
I don't think we've ever referred to her by name, and that's my fault.
Goat Mom.
I literally don't remember anyone's name because I'm so bad at names in real life to begin with. So in video games, it's just like, oh, I didn't name them. They're dead to me because I don't know them.
So this flower is a big asshole because he can be, basically.
Yeah.
So you spend the whole game hating him, and then near the end of the neutral route, you kind of realize that maybe he's not horrible.
Yeah.
You don't really get what's going on with him or who he is or anything like that, but you kind of start to see it. And then by the end of the True Pacifist, you know I mean, by the end of the True Pacifist, you're fighting the soul that was inside the flower.
Yeah.
And helping him.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful.
Well, it's really interesting. That battle, you call upon everyone to help you.
Kind of an Earthbound thing, too.
Yeah. Again, I know. I flipped around. I'm sorry. I realized that this is just an Earthbound clone.
Yeah, clone. Get this
same game.
Get this trash out of here.
So, Undertale's ending
is great.
It's great. All your friends help you.
Yep. I will have to show you the genocide ending.
Yeah, I know.
Because
I want to see it.
It's really fucked.
I figured.
It's really good. Like, everything about it's really good. I love that there's essentially 2 games in here. If you really want there to be. There's so much content if you want there to be.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And it never overstays its welcome. What are your final thoughts?
That final boss, when all my friends started coming back, I started crying.
I know.
I really, and not really like full-fledged crying, but I was like tearing. I was like, man, I really care. I shouldn't.
It's weird.
I shouldn't care about any of these people. I haven't played this game for that long. At least it didn't feel like I played it for that long, but I really sincerely care about all these weirdos.
Yeah. Which is great, too. They're all weirdos. Every single one of them is a big weirdo.
And the one character that I wanted to hate so much, I was ready to hate him the most. Sans. Because of the fan art.
Yes.
Because of things I've seen. I was just like, oh, he's stupid.
Great.
But I sincerely cared about him. Like, just the moments before the battle, you have this little conversation with him. And it felt so real.
Yeah.
Like, because he measures you.
Yep.
And he says, you're not that evil.
Yeah.
And I go, thank you. I could have been a real asshole this whole time.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. And he's happy.
It's really funny.
So I felt all this pride well up inside of me when I'm in this battle, and all of them are coming back to help.
Mm-hmm.
Because you get their attacks.
Yeah.
And you get to use them like you did during their battles.
Right.
And that moment is just so powerful. Yeah, I do care about all these people now. They're all special. Even Asgore I care about him because he had motivations that were, to him, important. And he wanted to solve this problem, and it was the only way he knew how.
And you got to keep in mind that, like, his experience with humans, most of them been pretty shitty, it seems.
Yeah, he had this awful son.
He had
a real shithead.
He had an awful son. He had an awful, like, they killed his kid. Like, they did really awful. And yet he still feels bad.
Yeah.
When he's fighting you. To the point where he goes, if you lose to him, and you go, you look at him and you tell him, I died before. He goes, he knows, and he's sad about it.
Yeah.
He's a really cool character, and he shouldn't be. Because he's a big, stupid-looking goat man.
Yeah.
And yet, he looks badass as hell sometimes. Like,
yeah.
What's really weird is the game really tricked me. It does a lot of tricking. Where, like, everyone tells you, Asgore's just a big, fluffy, nice guy.
Yeah.
And the whole time you go, no, he's fucking not.
You know he's evil.
Like, he's got to be. His name is fucking Asgore.
Asgore.
Like,
he's got an ass full of gore.
He's going to stretch my butt.
And gore me.
Exactly. All at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, no way. It can't be. No one would talk about how nice he is if he was actually nice.
That's what I'm saying.
They do say you can just talk to him and you can't.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But, like, you get to him, and he's a nice guy.
He's really nice.
He's like, I feel really bad. And he says, on days like this, kids like you should be playing outside.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, he feels so shitty about it.
You feel bad that you have to fight him.
You feel bad that he has to...
He has to fight you.
He feels that he has to fight you.
You have to fight him because he takes away the mercy.
Right.
And it's great.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that you have to fight. I think that it made sense to have to fight him before you get the true pacifist ending. Because you have to fight. You have to. It's like a rite of passage to fight this person.
Right.
So you understand that you have to reset. That you don't have to reset. It's a weird little moment. Are you resetting or is the flower resetting? Because the flower is the one who loves the reset. And at this moment, he feels something.
Yeah.
He goes, maybe they could have done it differently.
Yeah. And
so they give you the opportunity to do it differently. I think that's what it's trying to say here is you start to the human soul goes away for that moment.
Yeah.
And they go, maybe they could have done it the right way. Maybe not the right way, but the way they've been doing it this whole time.
Well, and he has a moment where he goes, I haven't seen something like this before.
Yeah.
Let's check it out kind of deal.
And it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's a very interesting game. I really like that once you get Pacifist End and you reset Pacifist End, and the flower comes up and goes, please don't reset. Like, just leave the game alone. I love that that's the biggest part of the game. The whole point of the game is leave it alone.
No, you know what? And I like that because it comes as a separate window.
Yes.
And it says, don't.
Yeah.
And it closes again.
Mm-hmm.
It closes the game.
You have to try.
Yeah.
You have to be determined. You have to be really determined to reset this game and fuck up everyone's lives.
This game has a theme, which is determination, and it really does it. It makes you go, yeah, you need determination to do things in this.
Good and bad.
We didn't touch on it, but the Undying fight, you have to continuously run away and be determined about it to get to the end of that boss fight.
Yep.
It's great. Again, I can't speak for the genocide route, but I know it requires determination to want to murder everyone.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. For sure. I mean, it's not only is it hard, it is really sad. Especially if you haven't played Pacifist, it's nothing.
Yeah.
You just go around, you fight things. Like, who gives a shit? When you play Pacifist and you see, I'm here because you thought you could just walk in here and kill everyone. This character that you've never met, I mean, you have because of Pacifist route, is going around evacuating everyone to get them away from you fucking monster.
Yeah.
Like, you have all these little moments that feel so good. Undyne trying to stop you. Like, Sans trying to stop you. Like, you have all these moments. I'm really excited to show you the very last segment of it because it's really touching. But I think the point of this game is that it is special.
Well, that's one of the things that right before my final thoughts, I just want to say, the flower says you're just gonna reset and be evil, because you can. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I'm not. I just turned it off and I never turned the game on again.
Which is that's the whole point of the game is.
Yeah.
You did a good thing. Now just leave it alone.
And I did. I did not make a new game. I didn't even think to do it. And I don't really care to.
Yeah.
I have no real motivation to. I felt like I got everything I wanted out of it. And that's why I kind of got teary-eyed there. I was like, hey, you know what? This was a good game. To make me feel something, you did a good job, game. I want to say it's probably going to end up being the game of the year for me. That's how good it is.
I will also, and I've been saying this since I played it. You cannot know how happy it makes me to realize, just so we can be fair one more time, Jake did not want to play this game at all. He was so fucking against it. I didn't think he was ever going to play it. And it made me kind of sad because I really wanted him to experience it. And he finally did, and to see that he has really good feelings for it makes me really happy. I love this game.
This game brought out a lot of nostalgia.
Yeah.
Which is surprising because games don't do that for me anymore. Yeah.
Also, it brought out a lot of nostalgia without going, hey, remember this game?
Yeah. It's not like Meme Run where they have to put in a bunch of references.
Right, exactly.
There's a very few references to things. Or they're done in a unique way. That isn't just a straight ripoff.
Right. Like 10 Village is just Mr.
Dodge.
Saturn. No, it's way... Fuck you.
No, yeah, it's definitely Saturn Village.
I mean, but it feels like its own little thing. It has its own little motif.
It's Saturn Village. It's it's tiny. It's a single room, and it's a single enemy that you might see or might not see. I don't know I don't know if they're random encounters. I don't think they are.
Well, the first Tem you see is not. I don't think.
Yeah,
but there are other Tems in there.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, Tim is Saturn Village, but everyone talks in
Tem
in a modern voice that I can imagine, which is really cool to me. Like, oh, it has all these little modern elements that you don't think are there.
Yeah,
cell phones, anime, this character.
Yeah,
there's just these little things that I like. Oh, I like this.
Like I can't believe that I didn't cringe.
Yeah,
it's because if you pull everything that we're talking about out of context,
it sounds horrible.
Oh, it sounds horrible. If I told you that, you get to go on dates with skeletons, and there's you talk about anime. Is anime real? Ha ha ha. Like, it sounds horrible.
It sounds
and yet
trashy.
Yes, it sounds. That's a very good word for it. It sounds trashy.
Like yet, indie game, the game.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so yeah, I really enjoyed the game. I think it's my game of the year. We're 2 games in, and we love all the games.
So far 2 for 2.
So all games must be good.
Let's hope so. No, that's not going to be true. Yeah, you call upon all these people, kind of like how Goku calls on everyone for a spirit bomb, which never works. It's the worst attack he ever does.
He killed
who?
Boo. He killed Boo with it.
I hate Boo Saga. So
he killed Boo with it. Well, he had the spirit bomb, and then he Kamehameha'd the spirit bomb into him.
See, spirit bomb just can't work on its own. That's how shitty it is.
Well, and I think
but that's for a whole other show of Jake and PJ talk about Dragon Ball Z constantly.
He blows up a whole fucking planet with it too, which the concept of that's really funny to me.
Take all these people's nice energy
and then blew up Namek with it. I think. No. I'm sorry. Frieza blows up Namek.
Oh yeah,
but I think he blows up Frieza. I don't know.
It doesn't matter. He doesn't blow up Frieza with it. He never hits him. He misses every time.
No, he hits Boo with it, and he gets reincarnated. It's good. You should watch it.
It's the worst that he has this attack for so long and it never works.
I want to be absolutely fair right now. I don't know if he hits him with it, but I did play Budokai 3, and that's his final attack in that game when you fight Boo. So I think that's how that worked, assuming Budokai 3 is correct. Anyway.